Challenges are what will come first.
Absolutely.
Success will come later.
Absolutely. Second, I think like in financial world and in the world of investments, trust and credibility is very key. All of us have gone to 100 VCs, you get rejected by 99. But I think the only thing you need to remember, you need that 1% to believe in you.
Correct.
Right?
According to market, I will buy house and car.
That's smart. Right? Yeah. So a lot of people think fixed is like guaranteed. They are different words.
How money flows through your life is what you need to understand.
Yes.
And it begins with कहाँ से आ रहा है और कहाँ जा रहा है. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Happy Hour with FinCocktail. Our guest today went from studying computer science to all the way to IIM-A. And it sounds like a little bit of a Three Idiots story, right? Where, banking ही करना था तो ये सब क्यों किया? But eventually he ended up in the finance field and we're very interested to know his story because trust me, he has a lot to say. So here's welcoming Saurav Ghosh. Saurav, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sayali. Very happy to be here.
Thank you so much for making the time. You must be very, very busy.
Not really. It just takes time to get to anywhere in Bombay.
अभी ना वो तो कहानी बॉम्बे की छोड़ ही दो. Any from within Andheri also getting anywhere is like a task. So I can't. So let's backtrack a little bit and tell us where you're from. How did your journey begin in this entire field?
Yeah, so I'm basically born brought up in Bombay. I did my engineering from BITS Pilani, Goa. Then did my MBA from IIM-A, as you introduced me that I'm a computer science engineer and didn't do anything of that degree. Well, that's quite true. So yeah, I think when I was doing my engineering, I kind of realized that opportunities in India in tech was not that great in terms of quality, right? And I obviously want to do good work, and then we said if you want to do good work, then I think the management side really gave better opportunities. I think that's a simple reason why I did my MBA. After that, now fast forward 15 years, I'm running a tech startup with a computer science degree, but knowing nothing about tech, right?
So you are like every mummy papa's dream. Dream son right here.
Yeah, but so it's been an interesting journey. I think post my MBA, I got into this field of finance, and really I started to raise capital for the companies I worked for. So I started my career in the infrastructure sector, then also moved to real estate, and in all these, I would say, companies, I was leading their corporate development teams where I used to be raising debt capital. And then, so while raising debt capital, we used to raise from all kind of sources, institutions, HNIs, and, that's where the idea kind of kicked in with what we do at Jiraaf. So,
nice. So you already had your tentacles everywhere. So you were prepared कि startup तो करना है ही कभी ना कभी तो.
नहीं ऐसा नहीं था. I think COVID helped.
It helped a lot of people.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate to say that, but yeah, for me, COVID helped in 2020. I think when the lockdown hit, and then you have so much time, and then you're sitting at home, and you're like, "What am I doing?" Right? And then I'm like, "Okay, now we can do something better with our life." Right? I think, and that's kind of got started from there. So.
Nice, very interesting. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit and let's address this issue of, now it's not an issue per se, but a lot of young people love this word entrepreneur and want to become entrepreneurs, even though they don't know what it may actually entail.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand, actually have a strong backing of a career for a very long time. And after that, you decided, to take the leap to become a co-founder. And what do you think? What is better?
Yeah, so I think it works differently for different people, but I can tell you my thought process. I think I've never, I started my career in a time when entrepreneurship wasn't fancy. It, in fact, was quite scary back then, in 2000.
I think it's still scary.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, now I see a lot of people, understand it quite, I would say it's quite widely talked about, so parents are supportive. There are multiple reasons.
Accepted a little
accepted, better. Right? So back then in my day, it was, doing a job is what was, the...
Customary.
Yeah, customary, right? So, but yeah, after 10 years, I think what helped me start up was the fact that I really had good confidence on the capabilities that I had, built through my job, and I felt when I wouldn't go and start up, I would say, in e-commerce or fashion or an industry which I don't understand, right? So for me, I really, it helped me that the professional career gave me the confidence to start up, which was in the same sector, which is finance, right?
Yeah.
So I think that kind of played out well. I really knew what I want to build. It was not like, I'm testing something and then I'll figure it out. So it helped that way.
Nice. So now that we've already reached what you are doing, and because instead of trying to sound vague or anything
Yeah.
like that, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So you have a very fun, interesting name for your company, which is Jiraaf. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it, with a
Yes.
J.
Yeah.
Funnily enough.
Yeah.
What? First of all, tell me, how did the name come by? What is this name about?
Yeah. So I'll tell you all the stories around it. There
Okay.
are quite a few. So one,
Love it.
obviously, we are building a consumer brand, right? I think it's important that people recognize that consumer brand for what it is, and I think the name should be in a field of finance where you can have investment, yield, return, etc. It really puts people off, I think. So we really wanted to keep a very fun, catchy name that
Yeah.
people can just remember quite easily,
Yeah.
and that makes us stand out as well. The second bit to this is, domain names are quite expensive.
The struggle of domain names is why we choose random
Yes,
letters.
right. So we couldn't spell giraffe with a G, right? So we had to come up
Chancy
with
nahi hai.
something different. So it's now giraffe with a J. And the last reason is my wife kind of suggested or came up with the name. So
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah,
a very fun
so,
name.
yes.
I like it.
yeah.
And what does Giraffe do exactly?
Yeah.
If you had to, this is your elevator pitch.
Yes. Yes, actually, just I'll cover the name bit of it. The real reason how we actually drew meaning from giraffe, I forgot to address that itself.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
We have a
so-
long time to talk about it.
Yeah, so I think one of the things we really, as an investment platform, we pick and choose assets. I'll talk more about that, but we pick and choose assets where individuals can come and invest. And as an animal, giraffe, because it can reach any part of the tree, it really picks and chooses the best fruits and leaves from the tree.
All the way up.
Yeah, right. So we said that we want to be the giraffe in the investment world.
That's
So
very cool.
so
I like that.
So yeah, that's the story. Coming to what we do, we are basically a fixed income platform. Now, for people who don't know, like fixed income debt, these are I would say these are new products in the Indian ecosystem today. The easiest way to explain this is fixed deposit is also a fixed income product.
Correct.
Right? So we understand that
Correct.
everyone understands FDs.
FD तो सबको पता है.
FD सबको पता है. So the FDs are basically why they fixed income means you get a fixed return over a fixed period of time. I think that's the way to
That's
explain
the
this.
idea.
Right? And as Indians, I think this is not a part of anyone's portfolio today. People are looking at equities or mutual fund, also equity mutual funds,
Yeah.
fixed deposits,
Yeah.
and now we've gone into crypto, right? So I think
Correct.
we've missed a lot of the basic stuff where people
Jumped ahead.
and now people are thinking of startup investing and whatnot, right? So yeah, so we missed a lot of the basics in between. So
Directly
we said,
shark बनना है उनको.
yeah, lot to do with Shark Tank, yes. So we said, why not bring back the basics a bit and talk about fixed income and debt while it's boring.
Yeah.
But it's a very important part of a financial portfolio.
Absolutely. So just to break it down again, fixed income products are somewhere that you get a fixed income.
Yes.
Very simple.
Absolutely, yes. I will
Just
use
like
that.
MDs.
Yeah.
मतलब आपका पैसा इन्वेस्ट हो रहा है कहीं एंड ऑन अ मंथली और 6 monthly or essentially periodically
Periodically, yes.
you get a
Fixed.
certain sum back
Yeah.
in your bank account.
Yes.
Simple. Nothing too complicated about that.
Absolutely.
Now, why are you saying that this is something that is new to the Indian economy?
Yeah, because so what people don't know is there are products beyond fixed deposits also which fall under this category of fixed
Yeah.
income, right? And there are a lot of institutions that participate. So there are so for example, a government bond, when in government of India is borrowing, we call government securities. These are also fixed income products.
Correct.
Which are bonds. There are a lot of public sector undertaking, PSUs or banks which borrow from the retail investors or individuals. Those are also fixed income products.
Yes.
So you'll hear of a 10-year NHAI bond, like some parents would have invested, an REC bond, right? Like so.
मैंने बहुत सुना है.
So there'll be like, few, like I would say, few people who would have heard
Yeah.
about these. These are all fixed income products, but not widely understood.
Correct.
So what we are trying to do is just make it more mainstream. So
Okay.
yeah.
And essentially, whenever we talk about, again, I'm just breaking it down for our audience a
Yes.
little bit because it gets complicated,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So all these things, like for example, government bonds or municipal bonds,
yeah.
etc. All of this is essentially the government or your municipality taking a loan
Yes.
from you as an
Yes.
investor,
Yes.
and then putting that money into like infrastructure, building schools, hospitals, all of that.
Absolutely.
That is the absolute basic explanation for that.
Yeah. So in fact, what people don't realize is when you do a fixed deposit,
Huh.
it's actually that bank taking a loan from you.
Correct.
Right. So
Bank
it's-
is giving you interest.
Yes, for the loan that they are taking. Now that's product is called fixed deposit.
Yeah.
When a company takes a loan and gives you interest,
That's called a
that's
corporate bond.
corporate bond. Right? So it's quite similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah.
Loan sabko pata hai.
Loan sabko pata hai. Yeah.
Okay, coming back to the name a little. Now, I don't want to dive too much into it, but I also have seen that it's powered by AI growth is
Yeah.
what I have seen on a couple of
Yes.
like the ads, etc. So what is this? What is powered by AI growth? There's some
Yeah.
AI behind it.
No, actually, when we began, we wanted to create an universe of alternate investments. So which
this
will
is
not
the
just
other
cater-
AI.
Yeah, this is the other AI, right? So so our holding company is actually called AI Growth.
Okay.
So we run two brands. One is called Jiraaf, and the other actually is called AltGraph.
Oh.
So Jiraaf is the more mainstream fixed income platform. AltGraph, we do a bit more innovation on the fixed income product that we bring. So
Okay.
it may be more suitable to
HNIs, etc.
HNIs or mass affluent
Got it.
customer that we say. But
Got
both of them effectively draw a lot of capabilities from a holding company. So we say it's AI growth.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very, very, very interesting. A different AI. I never
Yeah.
thought I'd say this, but it's true.
Yeah.
Now, as a co-founder, as somebody who's been, working on Jiraaf for so long, how long have you been working on Jiraaf for?
It's been now close to 3 years. So we started up in June 21.
Still pretty nascent, but
Still
I'm
pretty-
sure, I'm 100% sure you have a lot of challenges that you've already
Yeah,
faced.
absolutely.
So tell us about that. So on Happy Hour with FinCocktail, we like to talk about challenges because we want to know, we want everybody to know
Yeah.
that they are not alone.
Yeah.
Everybody faces challenges, and if you are a startup founder, if you are trying to build something,
Yeah.
challenges are what will come first.
Absolutely.
Success will come later.
Absolutely, yeah. No, this is a interesting question. I think because we also like to hear other people's challenges.
We'll share.
Yeah. You're like, "Acha, we are not the only one, right?
Correct,
So
exactly.
we are not the only one who doing this poorly, right? Like
Solidarity
So, yeah,
thoda.
correct. So I think when we started up, right, I think the biggest challenge that we had initially was to actually explain this product to our customers, right? So as I mentioned, like we are struggling with this even now, right?
कर क्या रहे हो? कहना क्या चाहते
ये
हो?
क्या product है, right? Like who are you bringing this product from where, right? So I think that was the key challenge in our space. So what we do is effectively go to a very small market, people who you can have one-to-one conversations with, and that's how we kind of started, because if we currently just start showing digital ads of fixed income, no one will even click one button, so it's
तो fixed income इतना भारी शब्द है.
correct.
People are like, ये क्या है?
ये क्या है? Correct. Yeah. So that was the I think the first challenge was just explaining the basics of the product even to people who are financially aware.
Correct.
So even that itself was that's the
Challenge.
first thing. Second, I think like in financial world and in the world of investments, trust and credibility is very key. Right. So, and then we've chosen a name like Jiraaf. Right. Right. So you come and say you're, like you don't sound a financial, like a firm that deals
Very
with
serious
financial-
business.
Yeah.
Our name is Jiraaf.
Correct. So we went to a lot of these HNIs, affluent customers, individual investors, and then we used to tell them we are from Jiraaf and this is the financial product that is we are selling. So yeah, I think trust credibility took a long time to
Build.
address and build, and that happened. So some things happen slowly, like no amount of venture capital or no amount of your effort you put can't fast track that.
Of course.
Right. So I think these were the two big challenges for us.
And these are the
And business doesn't scale without
Correct.
solving for them. Right?
Correct.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. And you're right. कितना भी उसमें पैसा invest करो, कितना भी how much ever capital you raise, whatever you do, how much ever money you throw behind education or trust,
Yeah.
it's gradual. There is
gradual.
no
Yeah,
other way
correct.
to do it other
Absolutely.
than just let it happen gradually.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise it won't happen truly, and then it won't
Absolutely.
translate.
Yeah. And sometimes you might give them some some token, like some gift
हाँ,
voucher, like early bonus or whatever, first
फिर
time
वो भूल
investor,
जाएंगे उसके
वो
बाद.
आके एक बार करके भूल जाएंगे, so it doesn't help. So
And that's
yeah.
not what we
Huh?
want,
That's
right?
not
We
what we
want to
want.
retain
Yeah.
our customers.
Correct. Yeah.
Fair.
So
So you've spoken a lot about working with a couple of companies where you raised debt
yeah.
capital as well, and
Yes.
other
Yes.
type of
Yes.
institutions, etc.
Yeah.
Have you raised money for Jiraaf already?
Yeah. We've done now 3 rounds.
See, now this is where we come to
Yeah.
the juicy part.
So we were in some sense fortunate to start in 2021, which was the
Oh yeah,
that was
a
the
good time
the good old days of the startup ecosystem. So we did a seed round back then. This was led by 2 angels.
Nice.
And then in April 2022, we did a Series A round, which was led by Accel Partners.
Yes.
And recently in October 23, we did our what we call Series B, which was again co-led by Accel and Harmony. Yeah. So,
Nice. Very cool.
yeah.
So I know for a fact that a lot of people want to know how to go about this raising funds business. Is there a blueprint? Is there a what do you need to do?
Yeah, I think it's hard work as well, right? You need to accept
उसके बिना
rejection,
तो,
right?
हाँ,
Like
कुछ
so
नहीं
all
होता.
of us have gone to 100 VCs, you get rejected by 99, but I think the only thing you need to remember, you need that 1%
That
to
one
believe
guy.
in you, right?
Correct.
So I think, and for VCs, it's a very I would say a standardized template in some sense, where they are looking to only answers to 3 questions. So one is what is the problem that you're trying to
Solving.
solve for in this world, right? Second is the problem that you're trying to solve. Is it a big enough problem that there are a large number of customers?
हाँ, मतलब दो चार लोगों का नहीं है.
हाँ, 2-4 लोगों का नहीं है, right? You don't want to just have a problem कि my switch is not close to my bed. I'll solve that one problem, which is my problem, right? So it should be a big enough problem for a lot of people. And then third is, are you the right team to be building for that problem,
Got
right?
it.
So as I said, if I went and pitched a fashion startup, I don't think I would have raised capital.
Debatable.
Right? Yeah, that's being sweet, but yeah. So I think these are the 3 questions that VC try to solve for, and I think you should be really clear about these 3 things, right? And I think you should, like, at least from a venture ecosystem, you should try and solve a big problem, because that's where it makes sense for VCs to come in.
Yeah.
So
Very, very cool. So you're solving the problem of fixed income not being accessible to a lot of people.
yes.
Why do you think fixed income is something which is so important that everybody should have it in their portfolio?
So I think there are a few fundamental aspects of this, asset class or the product, which makes it really powerful. So one is that, if you have an investment horizon of 1, 2, 3 years, right? Medium term, right? Or short to medium term, let's call it.
Yeah.
You can't invest in equities, right? Because if I have a 10-year horizon, equities is great. But in 2 years, you don't know how the markets will turn.
Very true.
Right? The second is the alternate. Then if you have a 2-year investment horizon, then the alternate is actually today just fixed deposits.
Yeah.
And there you're earning 6, 7, 8%, which is not really sometimes not beating inflation on a post-tax basis. So that's not a great product then, if it's not even beating inflation.
So
जाएंगे कहाँ, right? So that's where fixed income or debt comes in. So typically in the kind of product that we offer, you can get returns from 8% all the way up to 18% depending on your risk appetite, right? And these are all short to medium term investments. So it solves for that gap where you can earn higher returns and also not be affected by the volatility of the stock market. Right? So, sorry.
No, continue.
Yeah, the second point actually over here is because of the name itself, fixed income, you really don't need to apply too much, I would say, post-investment effort, right? Like, you don't need to monitor stock आज ऊपर जा रहा है नीचे जा रहा है क्या कर रहा है. Once you've invested, you know कि 30th of the month I will get
आने
this
वाला है.
money. Next month I'll get so much money. So
Yeah.
it's pretty predictable, right? And it also helps me plan my next set of finances from that. Right. So, for example, it's really useful in goal-based savings. So, if you want to plan a trip 1 year down the line, so and you're saving up for that, and then you say that I'll invest in a 1 year product. So, when I need to make that expense, my money will come back to me. Equities, I can't do that. Right. You want to buy a car, you want to buy a house.
According to market, I will
yes.
buy a house and car.
That's smart. Right. Yeah. So yeah.
Realistically नहीं होता
नहीं
वो.
होता वो. Right. So it's your short term, medium term goals. If you want to have a savings plan to get to that, then again fixed income is a powerful product to help you achieve that.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's the two key reasons why it really makes sense to have this in your portfolio.
Absolutely. That's very well put. I couldn't have put it better on any level. You mentioned quickly that you can earn anywhere between 8 to 18%.
Yeah.
Depending on your risk appetite.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people think that the moment fixed income comes in, matlab it is not risky.
Yeah, correct.
Can we address this?
Yeah, no, again, great question, because I want to address this as well. Right? Yeah, so a lot of people think fixed is like guaranteed. They are different words. So fixed means, you can expect there is certainty to that amount depending on certain risk factors, right? So the risk we take in fixed income is something that we call the credit risk. So theoretically, for example, even when you make FDs in a bank, if that bank actually goes down, your FD is not safe. Correct. Right? But yes, in India today they insure up to 5 lakhs, and you
but
put
usse zyada ki FD ho
so then you're not protected, right? So to that extent, even a fixed deposit with a bank is not risk free.
Yeah.
Now there are grades to this risk, right? So if you now give it to, let's say, a Tata Group company or a Reliance, and a Reliance is borrowing from you, or a Tata Group company, then they are large conglomerates. So you feel that yes, they will not shut down in a 1-2 year time frame. So then, that's higher risk than maybe a bank. You might choose, but at least I'm getting a better return for it. Now you can stretch this to even a small company who will borrow maybe at 17-18%. But a small company's certainty to, what kind of financial stress they can take for the next 2 years is something, so that's where the risk lies. Yeah. So this risk, what we call, which is the ability of that company to repay, is credit risk. Yeah. So in fixed income, we take something called a credit risk. Yeah. So.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, we also have credit risk.
Yes.
We credit cards खोल के रखे हैं.
Yes.
पता नहीं हम पैसे
bank is taking credit risk on us.
On us.
Yeah.
Again, simple ways to explain it to people.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, one last question about fixed income. How much should one invest in fixed income? Like, if the portfolio is like 100, like a pie chart, उसमें से कितना होना चाहिए in like fixed income products?
I think it changes with time. So maybe when we begin our careers, or you have the initial corpus, everything is in fixed deposits. I would say it's 100% allocation to fixed income. When you really have a decently large enough portfolio, I would say a conservative investor can do 50-50 if you're like 50 in equity, 50 in debt. If you're an aggressive investor, you might go up to 80 in equities but still 20 in debt. Right? So, and that's the range in between.
Interesting.
So,
very cool. So we like to think about it as ki when you're younger, you have the ability to take more risk. Yeah. So like more equity oriented earlier. Yeah. And then as you move along, maybe convert. Yeah.
So we think like, at least, we think of it a bit differently. So I think when it's also about, do you have risk capital, or you have capital which you can't take risk on? Right? So when you're early, and let's say it's the first 5 lakhs that you've earned, maybe you have a use case, you want to buy a bike, you want to, invest in something else. So you might you can't take equity risk with it. Correct. Right? So in these cases, it's
another way to think about it. That's great though.
And later on, once you have all your basic needs kind of, set for, like you have your corpus set aside for those, then you start taking equity risk.
Interesting. So, then you can aggressively take risk on the rest of it. Yeah. Very interesting. Never thought about it that way. I will now. Okay, I want to backtrack a little bit and go back to your time when you worked in the infrastructure, real estate space. What was that like? What were you doing there? What was your experience like?
Yeah, so I basically wanted to join the field of finance. I was not really particular about the sector, right?
So you were sure कि finance
Yeah,
में जाना है,
हाँ, finance में
but
जाना है. अभी any
कहीं से भी
sector,
चले
any
जाएंगे.
sector is fine. Yeah, so I think I chose the most boring sector of infrastructure and real estate in that sense. But it was interesting because you get to learn so much about the sector
Yeah,
as well.
that's true.
And yeah, so I worked in Gurgaon, Mumbai, Bangalore, right? So
Yeah.
saw multiple markets in
Mm-hmm.
real estate and infra as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was interesting because these are very large companies.
Correct.
So they are executing massive projects,
Yeah.
projects at massive scale. So kind of to be a part of it, and you kind of look
Yeah.
at the country developing in some sense,
Correct.
right? Like so that's quite interesting. It's
That
exciting.
is
Yeah.
that is
so,
very interesting.
yeah.
Also, like earlier, let's say 20, 30 years ago, the way you could invest in real estate was just land
Yeah.
or a house,
Yes.
right? Nowadays, there are so many more ways to invest in
Yeah,
real estate.
yeah.
There are so many products that are
Yes.
developing over there,
Yeah.
including REITs and
Yeah.
InvITs and all these
Correct.
things.
Yeah.
It's insane how this change has happened.
Yeah. So I think it's like as we progress as a country, you see newer products, right? And yeah, so with real estate, it's quite exciting actually.
Yeah.
So now recently there's something called small and medium REITs also,
Oh,
which has
really?
come out,
Huh.
which is basically you can also invest in like a Jiraaf kind of a platform. You can invest in commercial asset at a lower ticket size. So,
Like
so
lease-based investing. or
yeah,
something
so
like that.
these are like so it's called fractional ownership for real
Fractional
estate,
ownership. Sorry, I
right?
got
Yeah,
that wrong.
so
yeah.
it's like as a 10 lakh ticket size also
Huh.
you can start investing. This is something again quite
Yeah,
recent again.
yeah.
So
There's
it's
also, I believe, something where you can, similar to fractional ownership, but where you essentially lease two different companies. So you
Yeah.
essentially own like a fleet of like bikes
yes,
or
yes,
or trucks
that is
or whatever.
asset leasing. Yes,
And then
yeah.
you kind of lease it to somebody else. So you
Correct.
can fractionally own that as well.
As well, yeah. So a lot of innovation going on.
So
yeah.
many interesting
yeah.
things happening.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so going to come back to that a little later. But I'm going to ask you a very massively controversial and stupidly debated, like the amount of times it's debated, it's stupid.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. A question: buying versus renting. It is the so now it is, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Now it has become funny as a
Yeah,
concept,
yeah.
but your take on it.
I am biased. I'm a renter, but I'm biased. But yeah, I think I think you can debate this both ways, right? So I think if you go down so if you take the financial aspects aside, so if it's you're a person who values stability, security, peace of mind, I think you can't put a value to it. So definitely you go to
Yeah.
buy. But if you're like thinking purely in financial terms, then I think renting works better in India, right? You can rent at 3%, at 3% cost, and you take a loan at 8% in India,
Yeah.
right? So that difference itself
difference,
is big. I think secondly,
You can continue. It's fine.
Yeah?
He's
Okay, good.
he's just here.
yeah. So I was saying, so one is, if you value stability, security, or peace of mind, like you definitely go to buy,
Yeah.
right? But if you're looking at it from a financial perspective, I think given that rents are at 3%, like you can rent out at 3% and your home loan is at 8%, it's much cheaper to rent, right? So that one. The second bit is, I think, it's about cost of capital. It means that if I have 100 rupees,
Yeah.
should I buy a house or should I do something else?
Yeah.
So I feel compared to buying a house, with that same money, if you, for example, invest in an index fund, which is also a long-term asset, you are likely to make, let's say 15, 16, 17, 18%, whatever you feel is the, equity return over a long period of time. I don't think, real estate will match up to that over that long period of time. So,
Fair. Quick question, which we can edit out of the podcast whenever, if you are not happy with it eventually. Do your parents live in Bombay, right? Do they own their
yes,
home?
they own the house. Yeah.
Just a little bit of a thing to think about. So now you don't have to worry about them.
No, that's true.
So then after that, maybe you can rent.
So that's why I said, it depends what goal are you solving. Today, I think of rent versus buy purely from financial view, right? That's why if you have to look at it, from a more emotional aspect, then I don't think it's a choice. Yeah.
I think more than emotional aspect, I think I looked at it from a fear aspect, because I saw one of my close friends, her parents lived in one house like for a very long time. They got this like very, very nicely renovated, beautiful house. Like 10, 15 years they were living there. They thought that's where they will live because the person lives somewhere abroad or whatever. One day the uncle called this
After
other
18, 20
uncle,
years,
पर like 20 साल बाद types, and said कि अच्छा 1 महीने में आप जाओ क्योंकि मेरा बेटा आ रहा है. Beta wants to live here with his new beau.
Okay.
And uncle had to leave at
Yeah,
the
after
age of like 60.
Wow. Yeah.
At the age of 60, 65, where you're going to uproot your entire life and
No,
move
absolutely.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it also, I think, the
it's
stage
fear
of your
aspect.
life.
Yeah, stage of your life.
Many things
Yeah.
are there. Yeah, absolutely.
Personal
Yeah,
this thing, but
preferences. Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yes.
Well, Niyati is a renter and I'm a buyer
Buyer.
as of right now.
Okay.
But who knows? It may change.
You can choose which podcast you take.
Exactly. We always take the opposite side.
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay, so now that we've seen your journey, it's very, very interesting. Is Jiraaf available to everybody? Everybody can just, it's a shameless plug. Okay, so this is what we do.
Yeah, it's available to everybody.
Available to everybody, so you just go to the app store and download it and figure it out?
Currently for Jiraaf, we don't have an app. It's a web browser. But
Okay.
yeah, you can go to jiraaf.com from your phone or your laptop, desktops, and you can participate.
You heard it right
Yeah.
here, guys. Go to Jiraaf and the link we'll put it in the description. Don't worry, you can check it out. Check out all your nice fixed income products and find a place in your portfolio. Okay, now I want to digress a little bit because this section is where we what we force all our guests to talk about. Because the reason why we started Happy Hour with FinCocktail is because we wanted to showcase that every single person, regardless, abhi aap finance ke field mein ho to that is different. You are more knowledgeable about it and all of that. But from doctors, lawyers, content creators, actors, everybody, सबके life में पैसा तो है, right? And everybody has to manage it.
Yes.
And nobody has a like a 2+2 kind of formula to do it. And anything can work for anybody. So we wanted to showcase that. So this is a very interesting question that we ask everybody. How do you manage your money?
Yeah. So I think I'll talk about how I think about it. So first step to managing money for me has been to know where I stand. So I want to know what my income is. So I know a lot of people who don't know how much their salary, how much credits to their bank account. Yeah. So there are so that range is quite wide over there. So at least what my income is on a post-tax basis, what my living expenses are. The living expense might include one-time expenses as well. So budget for that over a year. You'll have some assets that you've already created, and then you might have liabilities, right? So just have a full picture of where I stand. And then how much surplus, taking out all my expenses that I am actually saving probably on a monthly basis. And then that's where the investments portions come in. So now that I'm saving so much, where do I allocate this money? Right. So that's my, being the general thought process. So I keep aside a part of my, savings in debt, like which is, as I mentioned, which is for me, risk-free. Correct. Right. So I would say that about 20% of my capital is in debt, and the rest are entire in equities. Right. Nice. So equities is a mix of, index funds and ETFs which I invest in. I like a bit of entertainment, so I like to pick and choose a bit of stocks myself. Yeah, but that's about it. Yeah.
Nice. So honestly, you are like the ideal person to talk about this because what you've explained is what we try to tell people. Ki managing money is a process. It's what we call the journey of money.
Yeah.
How money flows through your life is what you need to understand.
Yes.
And it begins with कहाँ से आ रहा है और कहाँ जा रहा है. And a lot of people, you'll be surprised, do not know that exactly. If I ask them कि monthly कितना कमाते हो और कितना खर्चा होता है, they can't tell me. They just can't tell me. They're like कभी कभी इतना कभी कभी इतना. अरे average.
Yeah. Correct.
Sit back, see how much you're doing this on like चलो 1 साल का 6 monthly, last 1 year का, exactly. देख लो ना, and then break it down to quarters. पता है कि दिवाली के टाइम पे ज़्यादा होने वाला है. Break it down. You understand that there is that period which is going to be high.
And I think another part is which I don't look at it that I would say minutely, but people can is where if you have like again financial milestones, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to, if you have a particular period where you want to buy a house, like buying a house, is very
Yeah.
important to you, right?
Yeah.
So how do I save enough to
Correct.
buy a house,
Correct.
or if your parents, then maybe your child
Yeah.
education, etc., right? So then you might have financial goals,
100%.
and then you need to think about investing to achieve those
Achieve those
goals, right?
goals.
So yeah, so
Absolutely. I have nothing to say. Only you have said everything. That's amazing, and I really love the way you approach your thinking in terms of managing your money. So I want to talk about that a little bit more. You mentioned in an article that you wrote, the future is female, and you talked about how women being financially independent is still not that common yet. Two-part question. Number one, why do you think that is? And number two, what would be your top 3 things that you would tell them that ye 3 kar lo, baki sab aaram se hota rahega?
Yeah, I think the reason for that article, I think the generations are like, when we talk about women also, I would say they are split in 2 generations. So one is my parents' generation, and one maybe I'll say my wife's generation. So so my parents' generation, my mom has been a homemaker, right? So for financial independence for that generation is very different.
Yeah.
So it's about just creating a source of income, and then maybe or having a corpus that you can manage so that you're not dependent, right? So I think that's what financial independence was back then. For now, I think it's quite similar for men and women alike, right? And so in that sense, that's not much different. But yeah, so what I think the 3 things that you need to do is I think again, just begin by understanding basics of finance.
Correct.
Right? Like, why do you need to invest? What does investment help you, in your
achieve.
help you do in your life, right?
Shameless plug part 2, guys. Follow FinCocktail for that.
And the second would be, I would say, what are the different avenues in this world,
available,
right? Yeah, like you might just know, like you might just be doing FDs, right? But there are tons of things that you can do. So probably start with, just understanding those 4-5 things. You'll get a hang of few, you won't get a hang of few, but then you can always double down on the things you understand, right? And third is just have basic goals, right? Like, this is what I want to achieve in life, right? And then so if you know 1, 2, 3, I think you'll figure yourself
Baki
out.
sab ho jayega.
Right?
Absolutely. I'm completely on board. This is great advice, especially the one where I could shamelessly plug our content in. But absolutely. I completely agree. Another article that you've written has something to do with your AI.
My AI.
Yeah, your AI. Your AI company.
Yes.
Essentially, it was all about alternative investments.
Yes.
Do you think they're on the rise, and do you think they have a potential to become mainstream in the near future? Let's say, and give me a timeline, like maybe 5 years, 10 years?
So I'll use this as I'll use an example. So if you look at like mutual funds today, we all talk about SIPs and mutual funds become such a big thing, right?
Only because Sachin said it.
Exactly. Mutual funds sahi hai.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but if you go back, when it started in the year 2000, I think since I think till 2010, 11, barely anyone spoke about it.
Correct.
But then, you reach that inflection point somewhere in this journey. And I think that happened in the last decade sometime. And now everyone, someone earning 50,000 a month is also thinking कि 5,000 SIP karunga, right? So I think that's the journey of any new financial product. It takes a decade, maybe 2 decades to really become mainstream, right? I think what we also call alternatives actually begins with debt. Right, which is mainstream globally. It's only in India it is alternative.
Really?
Yeah. So
if I'm not wrong, I'm sorry to cut you there, but if I'm not wrong, the debt market in the US or globally is much larger, almost 3 times
their equity market
than the equity market there, right?
So in most matured economies, the debt markets are larger than equity markets. In India, it's a small fraction.
Why is that?
I think, I just think it's I can't pinpoint. I think there are many things to do with it, like, taxation, which plays a key role, right? Correct. I think just generally, I think equity markets benefited a lot from these tech platforms, also over the last decade. I think something has not happened in debt in that sense, which is what we are trying to do, right? So yeah, I can't pinpoint one thing. And then obviously there's government, regulators,
is it also
many
the
things
credit
to do.
risk that we talked about?
Not
which
really,
is-
like because debt markets begin with your sovereign, I mean your government securities. Like, and recently, in fact, the Indian government security got listed,
Yeah.
for foreign participation as well.
Correct.
Right. So I think this was the first step after many
So,
years in
yeah,
India's
that
journey. Right. So,
validation.
yes. Right. So even this had not happened. Right.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's a lot to do. I think just the way India has matured, maybe I think it's just it's unique in that
Nice.
sense. Yeah. So
I absolutely love this. And yeah, so I think this is the journey that we'd love to see, especially with Jiraaf, how
Yeah.
we build the debt market and how it becomes mainstream,
yeah.
and how we kind of disseminate that information to everybody.
Yes.
How are you doing this at Jiraaf, where you're trying to educate people about the different fixed income products?
Yeah. So it can't be again a single approach. I think we take a lot of inspiration from I would say content creators like yourself, right? Like, so how we can do this better. But I think it's so I would say one aspect of it is just creating like snippets of videos, etc. This content that people today can easily absorb, right? That is one. The second is make the entry really easy. So you can invest with like 1,000 rupees in these products as well. Like government securities, you can do with 100 rupees as well. So
See,
just
now
make
this
it
is interesting. This is something that everybody should know.
Yes, right. So make it really easy so that with a very small amount and obviously very easy to use technology platform,
Correct.
you can just sit and at home and just try something. I think everything is about you'll learn to swim when you dive, right? I think that's the right. So it's something like that. So you invest, you'll get a hang of it. I still don't think so many people really understand what mutual funds are and how they operate, right? Like, but people have a ठीक है, it's a widely accepted product to कर लेते हैं, right? So it's like that. So you start investing, you'll get a hang of it, and then you see where it fits in, where it does not, right? And I would say third is just creating a lot of educational written content as well, so different people can pick up, just like if you do a Google search, you should find answers to the question that you're looking for, and stuff like that. So just putting a lot of written content, I think slowly, steadily, people will pick up, and that interest will come. So
Fair enough. And I think a lot of times where we say this, and I know that I'm the biggest kind of propagator of this, but I always call investing or finance or managing your personal finances an art more than a science. Because kitna bhi aap ye karo, matlab aap aur main dono same, our thought process is the same, but our portfolios don't look similar. Right.
Correct. Yeah.
And even if we do the same things, our what we get out of it may be wildly different.
Yeah.
Because it's more an art than science.
Yes.
And it's personal finance because it's personal to everybody.
Correct.
It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you. So, okay. I'm going to leave you with this last question.
Yes.
But think about it. What do you see? What is your vision for Jiraaf in the next, let's say, decade? Now that we've said that 5 saal is too short, I can't ask this question. So, the next decade, what does that look like for Jiraaf?
Yeah, so I think, for us, we'll be successful as if, people
I
understand.
love the confidence. We will be successful. Putting it out there.
Entrepreneur में इतना तो चाहिए रहता है. Yeah, so I think we'll be successful if, we've kind of made everyone understand what is debt, right? How can they invest in debt? And where can they invest in
big
debt?
feat.
Right? Yeah. So, what is debt? How can they invest? Where can they invest? So if we've achieved these three, I think, we are successful in that sense.
Nice.
But yeah, I think just from a larger goal, I would be really happy. Like today, I think every individual is going and opening a DMAT account. I think there's some 15 million DMAT accounts being opened every month or year, some
all-time high.
Yeah, right? So I like, so there should be 15 million people opening a Jiraaf account
as well.
As well, right? Yes. So I think that's when we are really, kind of mainstream.
Heading
right?
towards.
Yeah, so.
That's amazing. This was a great chat. And I think after this conversation, a lot of people will Google what is debt? Kaise invest kare? Kahan kare? Achieved what we set out to do.
Podcast is successful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Saurav,
so
for taking
much,
out the time. It was a great chat. And I'm going to go.
Yeah,
and
thank you so much. I really had fun doing this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Please like, share, and subscribe to FinCocktail.
Lovely.
Yeah,
thank you so much, guys. We'll see you in the next one.